Oh, hey. Hey. This is my 1973 F-250 Highboy. Now, if you don't already know, a Highboy is basically a divorce transfer case F-250 made from 67 to 77 and a half. 6 months into 77 to be exact. If you also didn't know, the Ford technicians didn't really get that smart until 1977 because this thing lacked everything that a good drivable truck should have, which basically means everything that makes it safe and actually drivable. When I first got this truck, I saw it on Marketplace for $5,500, and I thought to myself, I would really like to have this truck. This looks like a really good looking truck. So I messaged the dude. I was like, hey, would you ship the thing across the country if I'd like arrange it and everything? And he's like, yeah, sounds good to me, cool. So I basically trusted a stranger completely off of the world of Facebook Marketplace and was like, hey, I'll wire transfer you $5,500 and you send me your truck and don't scam me. Now, before I got the truck, the weekend that I thought about getting it, a 77 F-250 popped up in Nashville. I'm not that far from Nashville, like 4 hours. So I was like, this thing's a really good deal. It was $7,000. I was like, cool, I'll go buy that one. It looked like a really nice looking truck. Hopped with the truck in a trailer after I got off work. 2:30, I got off work. We drove down there. Had to be up the next morning at 4 o'clock in the morning, and had that long of a drive after work, just getting off doing construction all day. Didn't feel like doing shit. Bought me a 77 F-250. Drove it home. I was like, okay, I'm gonna post it on Marketplace, see what I'll get for it. Posted it up at a stupid price. I think I posted it at $13,000 just to see what people say. Immediately, my messenger's like blowing up. Dude, I'll come get it tomorrow. I'll come get it. I'll come get it. This guy from Kentucky is like, yeah, I'll come get it tomorrow. I'm like, cool. Kentucky's just a few hours from me. Another guy from Ohio, he messages me, gives me his phone number, says, give me a call. I'm like, dude, this guy just said he'd come tomorrow. He's like, I'll come tomorrow and I'll bring $14,000. It's like, okay, cool. Hang up the phone with him. Told the Kentucky dude, this guy said he'll bring 14 grand. He's like, okay, cool. Then another guy out of left field out in the middle of Wyoming messages me. He's like, I think he was from Kansas, Wyoming, somewhere out west, way far away from Tennessee. And he's like, I want the truck. I was like, well, this dude done said he'd bring me 14 grand tomorrow. He's like, I'll bring 15 grand tomorrow. I'm like, okay, but you're all the way in this state, you know, so far away. And he's like, how much of a deposit you want? I said, send me $500 on PayPal and I'll hold it for you. Dude sends me $500. He's like, I'll be on a flight to Knoxville in the morning. Okay, cool. Hadn't heard nothing from him. Calls me when he lands. He's like, hey, I'm in Knoxville. I was like, okay, cool. He's like, I'm renting a rental car. I'll be up there. So a few hours later, about 2 hours later, brand new Corvette pulls into my yard. Pulls out the money, and he's like, I just want to know, how much did you spend on this thing? He's like, I know you just bought it. He's like, I ain't gonna, you know, it ain't gonna stop me from buying it, but how much did you spend on this thing? And I'm like, spent $7,000 on it 2 days ago. He's like, well, you did really good. Gives me $15,000. Cool. This thing's still on there for $5,500. So I'm like, hey, I'm gonna buy that thing off of you. He's like, cool. So I tell my parents, I'm like, hey, I'm going to the bank to wire transfer $5,500 to a complete stranger in Washington State. They're like, okie dokie, good luck with that. Thinking I'd get a scam. Luckily I didn't. The truck's right here. But I sent the dude the money, and a guy picked it up from a hotshot company I hired. 2,700 miles later and $3,300. It gets shipped here. Shows up. Guy brings it. Barely speaks English. He's in a Toyota Tundra. A Toyota Tundra. He drove 2,700 miles pulling this thing on a homemade trailer. How it made it here in one piece, I don't know. And he couldn't have made money. He broke down 2 days before he got here and left like a day or two later than he was supposed to, and it ended up late. That's why I got a deal on the shipping. I think I paid him $3,000 shipping when it was supposed to have been $3,300. The guy did not make money whatsoever. He didn't even know how to shift the thing. He was trying to pull the four-wheel drive shifter to shift it into neutral to get it off the trail. Anyway, he shows up with this thing, and the story the dude gave me was it was a 360, obviously, from the factory. His grandpa gave it to him in high school, never transferred it out of grandpa's name. He drove it in high school like an ignorant teen would. He blew up the 360 in it. So he swapped in a 428 out of a 66 Thunderbird that grandpa just happened to have. And, you know, they did quite a bit of work to it, bored it 40 over, did ported and polished heads, did a hardened valve seats for the shitty gasoline, new cam, all that kind of stuff. And it's a good running truck. I mean, it's, you know, I made that video that got like 400,000 views, a little short about it being fast. So, you know, with the work done to it and everything, it may push 400 horsepower, which in an old truck on 4-way drum brakes with no power steering is a fast truck. I don't care what you guys say. I don't care about your Hellcat. I don't care about your twin turbo F-150. In a 50-year-old technology truck, 400 horsepower in this thing is a lot of horsepower. For reference, that truck is a 460 1986. It came with 245 horsepower stock. That is a 1994 F-150. It is an inline six. It came with 145 or so horsepower stock. Now, when I got it, the floor pans were rotted out. They had holes in the floor pans. But other than that, there's no rust in this entire truck. So we just replaced the floor pans. I added 2 layers of sound deadening to the floors, added 2 layers in the doors, added carpet down from ACC carpets, put some nice. I also had the roof patched because the guy that had it before, a tree fell on the top of the roof, a tree branch fell, and all they did was bondoed over it and then sprayed it back again, and it looked horrendous and was about to rot through. So I did replace the roof, had the whole roof reskinned. That was $1,000. I also coated the entire underside of the truck, and when I got it, the truck did have close to 4 neutrals. When you started the truck, it would not have any gears whatsoever because the trans leaked so bad. The seals were hardened in it. It did not get fluid like it should. So you had to let the truck warm up about 10-15 minutes before it would actually take gear. And I just recently, this past month, had it in a transmission shop getting a whole entire rebuild, new torque converter. Every single thing on the transmission is brand new, and nothing underneath the truck leaks anymore. Now, I also put these mall crawler ass wheels on it, 20 by 12s. Wah, wah. It can't go up a hill anymore in the mud because I put these big wheels on it, and everybody gets offended because it doesn't have 15-inch wheels with 40-inch tires. Also, some people told me these were not the factory mirrors. Funny enough, the old mirrors that were on it were 80s model mirrors. They look just like the 79 mirrors, but I have the Marty report on this truck, and it actually did come, they optioned the 3-point camper special mirrors, which were actually meant for towing a camper. And you can see I actually managed to find original Ford ones, and I built these over the course of a year. Now, under the hood here, I did some Anson valve covers, beautiful valve covers. I did a brand new set of intake gaskets, head gaskets, valve cover gaskets. I've done every gasket on it, a brand new water pump with water pump gaskets, all new lines, because this thing did set for 8 years before I got it. I put a Petronics flamethrower ignition on it, which is fantastic, by the way. If you guys are thinking about getting one of those, they're well worth the money. I put one on the Bronco too. And I put this big old jumbo Willie Bob Champion 4-core aluminum radiator on it. And I will tell you, this thing is overkill as it gets. It is way too much cooling for this thing. And it being a 428 still, it is way too much cooling. I've had this thing in 100-degree weather and stop and go traffic in Pigeon Forge, and it never gets over 180 to 190 degrees. In the wintertime, I have to put cardboard over it just for it to actually warm up like it is supposed to. I also did 5% tint on the entire thing except the front windshield. I did the strip in 5% tint as well because you gotta have the tint. You can't be seeing inside of there. And here's a better look at my interior. I did that headliner myself, wrapped it off some Etsy material that was like $4, and I bought a piece of some kind of side vinyl. I don't remember what it was, from Lowe's for like 15 bucks. So I have like 20 bucks in this headliner, and a actual headliner you buy online that's just straight black is like $100 to $200. So screw all that. I can do it for 30 bucks. And I think that looks pretty fantastic if you ask me. I did the floors, like I said, new carpet. This truck obviously never came with carpet. It came with vinyl flooring or just straight metal flooring. I got those Doja mat, Highboy mats. Ignore all my tools still being in here. Like I said, I'm still doing all the seals and stuff. And there's the vinyl trim. I did the vinyl wood grain trim on all of the trim because obviously my trim came black. And I think it turned out pretty good. Looks pretty good. Now, I know a guy specifically asked me, what does this back gas tank do? Because there's a gas hole right here, but there's a gas hole right there. Now, on the Highboys, when they ran these trucks down the assembly line, they just cut these beds the exact same, every single one of them. 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive, whatever. They cut every single bed the same. So they cut the gas tank hole out of all of them. Well, the Highboys actually have a narrow ass end back here. If you look at the frame, I don't know if I can show this, especially with the spare tire being back here, but the rear of the frame is actually narrower on these than it is on a regular old 79 F-150 or whatever, which means they couldn't fit a gas tank back there. So they put the gas tank inside of the cab. But since they already had the hole cut back there, they just patched it up with a little piece of metal. And I actually have one of these inside of the cab, the toolbox here. So here's a factory one. Mine doesn't have it for some reason, but this right here would have been right inside of here, and it would have been matched to your body. Now, mine didn't come with that. Mine come with a little plastic filler for some reason. I don't know why, but this is a factory one a buddy of mine gave me at a truck show. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I have a lot of stuff planned for this channel. I've always wanted to do a channel like this, and I've never really gotten around to it. I have a lot of old stuff. If you look at my shorts that I've been posting, I have a 72 Bronco I'm doing a full frame off restoration on. The camera's currently sitting on a 79 F-150 short bed frame that is a beautiful, just original Survivor I got from a guy a couple years ago and have never got around to doing. Need to get that done too. So I have a lot of stuff I can make content on, and obviously everybody loves this old stuff. I watch a lot of Tom's Refurb, Weston, Chaplin, all that kind of stuff, and everybody loves these old build channels and stuff like that, doing old trucks, old cars, whatever, just American horsepower. So hopefully if you guys did enjoy, please leave a like if you watched this entire video. I really appreciate it. And if you're new and you want to subscribe and watch all the old stuff, then please do. If you got any more questions about the truck, I'm more than willing to answer them in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed, and I'll talk to you guys in the next one.